My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC 286 fight card, giving you my DraftKings picks, predictions, and plays. Before I jump in, head on over to WeWantPicks.com. We have a full suite of DraftKings services. We have full breakdowns for all the fights. We have player ranking, pool ranking. We have this incredible cheat sheet, which is going to give you the fighter names, obviously the salaries, the scoring projections for DraftKings, the ownership projections in DraftKings, and leverage. Leverage is a proprietary number that we come up with that will really help you build your larger tournament lineups by separating yourself from the pack. And oh, by the way, our DraftKings ownership projections, those have been the best in the industry, better than Roto Grinders, all these giant companies charging you God knows what every month. We're only charging $10 a month. It includes all of this, all the bets, everything else, and our fancy DraftKings optimizer. This will build lineups for you. This will build 150 lineups for you. You click a couple buttons, you build your lineups, and you are good to go. So you're going to get the optimizer, you're going to get DraftKings ownership projections, you're going to get the leverage plays, you're going to get the cheat sheet, you're going to get player pool rankings, you're going to get salary rankings, you're going to get our fade of the week, our lock, all of this information, plus bets and everything else for only $10 a month. Just head on over to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. You've got nothing to lose. Let's go ahead and break down these fights. We have 15 fights, so we're going to try to do this as quickly as we can. And as always, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. I'm going to tell you right now, Juliana Miller, I'm fading her. $9,400 is a lot of money to spend on somebody with 4 professional fights. She has 4 professional fights. I don't know why this says 4-1. She only has 4 professional fights. She is 3-1 in her professional MMA career. Yes, she scored well last time. She came in here as the very, very slight favorite to win the Ultimate Fighter and walk through Brogan Walker. She is a grappler. She can get the takedowns and get it done. She's fighting Veronica Hardy or Veronica Macedo, depending on what research you're doing. She married ex-UFC fighter Dan Hardy. She's a striker. She's a clean striker. She's technical. She's light on her feet. She's fast. She bounces around. She charges forward, has solid combinations, and she could also be dangerous on the ground, but doesn't really have much wrestling. The reality is she hasn't fought in a few years. When she did fight, her record wasn't great, but these are these are decent opponents. Ashley Evans Smith is solid. Andrea Lee, Jillian Robertson, these are actually solid fights. She took the time off. I'm not entirely sure why. The reality is Juliana Miller probably wins this fight. And if she does, she may score well. But I can't justify spending $9,400 on somebody with only 4 professional fights. It's not Bo Nickel. It's not 4 professional fights, but an entire storied career of accomplishments outside of the octagon. No, it's 4 professional fights and no previous combat sports history. So, gonna fade Juliana Miller at $9,400, but she probably wins and may put up some decent points. There's just too much risk there. Then we have Jai Herbert taking on Ludovit Klein. This is another interesting matchup because Jai Herbert is a long technical striker. He can fight at range. He has okay power, and he's a decent striker with some solid kicks. He's had an interesting run. Last time they were in London, Ilia Topuria knocked him out, but he had Ilia rocked early. He almost had Ilia out in that first round. You'll see the knockdown here. And then Ilia came out strong, got it done with his big overhand, and made that happen. He's coming off the win over Kyle Nelson, where he only scored 65 points. I get it. He's an underdog here. A lot of people like him, but he's not worth that underdog money because he doesn't score that well in his decision wins. And he's fighting Ludovit Klein. Ludovit Klein is also a very good striker. A very good striker. He's smooth, he's fast, he's accurate. Really nice job of fighting that technical fight and then hiding jabs behind his kicks and things like that. So he does a really nice job beating you up, staying technical, staying in your face. If Jai Herbert can keep the distance, he can pick him apart. But if Ludovit Klein's going to push that pace, stay in his face, chop down that leg, which is what Ludovit does so well, he should win. I mean, look at these last 2 wins. He was solid underdogs. I mean, actually, what's even more interesting is lost to Mike Trizano as a favorite, lost to Nate Landwehr as a favorite, Then he's an underdog 2 fights in a row and comes out there and gets it done. I think Ludovit Klein wins this fight. $8,400 is a decent price point. But here's the thing. He doesn't score that well because he's probably not going to get a finish in this fight and hasn't been getting too many finishes in his recent fights because he's a technical striker, not a big power guy, not sloppy, not going to come in wild. He's going to pick, jab, leg kick, and fight that fight. So probably not going to throw Ludovit in my lineup, even though I do think he wins because I don't think he's going to score that well. And we have 30 fighters to choose from. And even if you think Herbert wins, again, he doesn't score that well traditionally either. So he should probably be left out. Then we have Joanne Wood taking on Luana Carolina. $8,600 for somebody who is 1-4 in her last 5. But her losses are to Alexa Grasso, the current champion, Tyler Santos, Lauren Murphy, Jennifer Maia. Like, these are quality losses. And then when she fights somebody who is not ranked in the top 3 in the world, she smokes him, right? Beat Jessica I, scored 108 points in that win. Beats Andrea Lee, 96 points in that win. Lipsky, 90 points in that win, essentially. So this is just a case of almost what Dan Ige was a few months back. The guy was 1-4, couldn't get a win, but he was fighting top-level people. Then you gave him somebody in the middle of the road, and he beat the absolute piss out of him. That's probably what happens here. And frankly, $8,600, she may be worth that money. She's fighting Luana Carolina. Luana Carolina, she's a striker. She does have solid takedown defense. Her takedown offense is not really great, but her takedown defense is solid. And if she is on the ground, she's got really nice submissions. She's constantly working for something. She's coming off that really bad knockout loss to Molly McCann. It was a spinning back elbow, Molly's second in a row, that knocked out Luana. Luana is better than people are giving her credit for sure. Absolutely better than people are giving her credit for. I still don't think she's going to win this fight. I think Joanne Wood is just that much better everywhere. And she's fighting close to home. All that experience, only lost to high-level people, where Luana Carolina hasn't fought that same level of competition and still has sort of that spotty record. So I don't think Luana's going to get it done. She is better than her record. She's not worth the $7,600 in my opinion. And Joanne Wood, I think she gets it done. I think that's actually an affordable price point. But women have been letting us down as of late. Then we got Malcolm Gordon taking on Jake Hadley. Malcolm Gordon should be a big fade. He missed weight by over 3 pounds. And in losses, he's been finished. He has been finished in every single one of his 6 losses. So he's not even a solid underdog play unless you think he wins. And I don't know how he's going to win this fight. He's getting a lot of credit for this loss to Mokaev. Yes, he was submitted, but it was late in the 3rd round against the grappling beast. And at one point, he had Mokaev down. He had his back, and he could have choked him out potentially, but he didn't. Malcolm Gordon's a good BJJ guy. No chin whatsoever. Wrestling can use a little bit of work. He's fighting Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley also has decent submissions. He's got very, very nice technical, pinpoint accurate striking with just a jab that'll chew your face up. Jake Hadley should absolutely work Malcolm Gordon. Jake Hadley should win inside the distance. Jake Hadley should be in your lineup at $9,300. This loss to Alan Nascimento was really just Alan grinded on him. Just absolutely ground on him and got that done. And Jake Hadley was taken down by Carlos Candelario as well. He got that submission, but Jake Hadley, not as good as a lot of people thought he was going to be, but still very good and much better than Malcolm Gordon. So Jake Hadley should be in your lineup at $9,300. Then we have Christian Leroy Duncan, and he is taking on Dusko Todorovic. Christian Leroy Duncan, UFC debut. He is 7-0. He has 6 stoppages. He's a high-pressure fighter. He comes forward. He just absolutely nonstop striking with power and pressure. He's got super speed. He's very creative. He will throw anything and everything at his opponents with no regard for what comes back his way. He does have solid ground and pound as well if he ends up on top. He's fighting Dusko Todorovic. He's a technical striker as well. He does have some decent power. He has takedowns. He's got offensive BJJ. It sort of rounds him out as a fighter. The problem is he's sort of kill or be killed kind of guy. His chin is fading him. In his last fight, he was absolutely getting smoked by Jordan Wright in that first round. Then he reset, came out in the second round, and got it done. I think Dusko's a little overrated. Not that, I mean, he's $7,500, so it's not like he's the favorite and people are very high on him. But he does have some technical striking. I think he gets a little too much credit for a few of his wins, like the Jordan Wright one, for example. Christian Leroy Duncan should win this. Probably wins inside the distance, but he is a UFC debut, and he's not cheap. He's an expensive fighter at $8,700. But again, if you think he wins and you think he wins inside the distance, he should be in your lineup because Christian Leroy Duncan at $8,700 to win by finish is a lot more affordable than some of these other people on this card. Then we have Lerone Murphy. He's taking on short notice opponent Gabriel Santos. Lerone Murphy got himself an opponent on 1 week's notice, and he is still just a very slight favorite. And that speaks volumes to his opponent. But Lerone Murphy is a very good striker. He moves really well. He's got a ton of power. He will light up your body, then completely step out of the pocket and move away. His footwork is very good. He's dangerous on his feet. His takedown defense is not very good. But he is a dangerous, dangerous striker. And Makwan Amirkhani fight is an interesting one because he was taken down 5 times in that fight. 5 times. Still kept his composure and then got that knockout. He's fighting Gabriel Santos. Gabriel Santos is very aggressive. He's making his UFC debut. He is doing it on short notice. He's going to lose this fight. But the reason this line is close and the reason the betting odds are close is because Gabriel Santos is dangerous. He comes forward. He's got those Vitor Belfort 1-2s as he charges forward. He'll back you all the way up to the cage and then work to take you down. Makwan Amirkhani was able to take down Lerone Murphy 5 times. If Gabriel Santos can have that same success with the takedowns, he's not going to gas out like Makwan. And he's a much more capable striker with a better chin than Makwan. So Gabriel Santos, a very good fighter. He is undefeated. $7,900 is a lot of unknowns here. I wish he was a little more affordable, but he's a solid underdog in this spot. I'm not going to... Lerone Murphy probably wins this because of his dangerous hands and his UFC level of experience and the fact that it's not short notice for him. But Gabriel Santos is very, very good and could absolutely win this fight. So Lerone Murphy will not be in my lineup, but Gabriel Santos potentially may be. Then we have Muhammad Mokaev taking on Jafel Filho. Muhammad Mokaev, beast of a wrestler. 6 takedowns, 12 takedowns. Didn't need to take down the Durden fight. Just sucked that up. Got that submission there after, I think it was a wild knee. Muhammad Mokaev is very, very good. Muhammad Mokaev is $9,700, and that's a fitting price point for a guy that has put up over 120 points in every single one of his fights. He's fighting a UFC newcomer. The difference here, though, is Muhammad Mokaev has been talking about a shoulder injury. He needs surgery, but turned down surgery so that he could fight. So we don't know. I have to assume he's ready and able to go. I have to assume he's physically there and can get it done. But he did say, I need surgery. I'm not getting my surgery so that I can fight. And as a grappler, that is a little tricky. Like, that is very, very tricky. He's $9,700. He's fighting Jafel Filho. Jafel Filho is a fast-paced guy. He's going to engage in a firefight or look to get takedowns. He can get wild with his striking, but he is fast. He does throw heat. His takedown defense is pretty good, and he's got some solid takedowns, but none of that matters because Muhammad Mokaev is going to get the takedowns and going to win this fight. If we ignore the shoulder injury, Muhammad Mokaev is worth every bit of that $9,700. If we don't ignore the shoulder injury, then I don't know if I'm going to spend that money. That's up to you. If you think this guy is like really bad off and really needs that surgery and he's going to TJ Dillashaw his way through this fight, fade the shit out of him. If you think he's just sort of saying stuff and like, yeah, probably needs surgery, but like a minor laparoscopic, you'll be fine in a couple days type surgery, then Muhammad Mokaev should be in your lineup at $9,700 because he's going to put up those wild takedown points. Then we have Sam Patterson taking on Yanal Ashmoz. Listen, I have no clue why Sam Patterson is $9,000. I have no idea. He's very long. He's 6'4". He is undefeated. But he doesn't use his length well for striking. He doesn't keep people at the end of his jab. He gets cracked constantly. And even if you watch his fights a little closer, you're going to see, oh, wow, he won by knockout. That fight that he won by knockout Go watch it. It was against Felipe Silva. Felipe Silva had Sam Patterson rocked. He was cracking him whenever he wanted to, and then he recklessly charged forward and just ate a shot on the way in. But Sam Patterson gets hit. Sam Patterson gets taken down. And he's fighting Yanal Ashmoz. Yanal Ashmoz also making his UFC debut. He's a pretty well-rounded guy. He's not amazing anywhere, but the guy comes forward. He will throw spinning attacks. He will throw bombs. He will throw heavy, and then he will grapple. And he's got some solid takedowns. He's got a solid chin, really just a solid base of a fighter. Yanal Ashmoz, I think, wins this fight outright. We're not even talking about, oh, he's a good underdog because he may score well in a loss. I think he wins. And $7,200 will put up some very put up. I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but for $7,200, he's going to free up some money in your lineup. And we can afford some of these more expensive guys. I like Yanal Ashmoz to win straight up, and he's definitely going to be in my lineup, especially at this $7,200 price point. Then we have the other seed Duncan. We got Chris Duncan taking on Omar Morales, and this is an interesting fight because the line has fluctuated. Omar Morales, technically the favorite according to the DraftKings scoring here, the pricing. He's now officially an underdog. I don't know what changed at weigh-ins that the line flipped, but he's officially an underdog. And this is interesting because Omar Morales is a good technical kickboxer, nice kicks, solid takedown defense. He's strong, he comes forward, and he has solid grappling as well. He's a pretty well-rounded guy, a little older in his career. Sort of a chin is going a little bit, been getting finished. That's why I'm on the Chris Duncan side. Omar Morales is dangerous. He is technical, but Chris Duncan is heavy-handed and tough as nails. He is never out of a fight. In his Contender Series fight and other fights, you'll see him get cracked. He'll get dropped. He'll be rocked almost out of there. Somehow keeps it alive and then comes forward and then gets the job done. It wasn't only in his Contender Series fight that he did that. If you go back and watch some of his tape on the regional scene, he's done that in other fights as well. He's a dangerous, dangerous guy who is tough as nails, impossible to put out. I think we have a younger up-and-coming Chris Duncan taking on an aging, sort of on his way out Omar Morales, and I think Chris Duncan's going to get it done. This is essentially even money, and I think Chris Duncan may be a solid play, but if you think Omar Morales gets this done, then $8,200, you should get it. You know, he should be in your lineup there. If you want to fade both sides of it, I get it. UFC debut versus an older guy. There are a lot of question marks there, but I do think Chris Duncan gets it done, and you'll get him a little bit of a $200 savings there. Then we got Jack Shore taking on Makwan Amirkhani. Jack Shore should absolutely get this done. Very good grappler. Very good striking as well. You're going to see this loss to Ricky Simone by submission. He was dropped, and his striking looked really good up until he was dropped. And then that's how he got submitted. We're going to learn a lot about him because a lot of these undefeated prospects, look at Romanov. We just saw Alexander Romanov last weekend. Undefeated prospect. Finally had his first loss. Wasn't even that bad of a loss. And then he looked like absolute dumpster fire trash in his next fight. I don't think Jack Shore is that guy. I don't think Jack Shore is the guy where one loss is going to send him on a downward spiral. I think he's going to recover from it, come back, be better. He's got some quality wins against some very good grapplers. And that's what he's got here. He's got a very good grappler in Makwan Amirkhani. Makwan Amirkhani is a stud. He's going to come forward. Look at these takedowns. 3 in a loss, 5 in a loss, 5 in a loss, 3 in a loss. And that's because this guy is like first round or bust. He can come out, get the takedowns early, very good grappler, then fades big time. I think Makwan Amirkhani is going to come out, get some takedowns. Jack Shore's a decent grappler himself. He'll probably weather that storm and then pick apart Makwan, ultimately get the finish. Jack Shore will be in my lineup. $9,500 is not the most affordable, but I think he wins by finish. Therefore, he'll be in my lineup. But with that being said, Makwan Amirkhani could put up some numbers in a loss. I mean, 46 in a loss, that's not terrible. And we're talking sub 7,000 pricing. So depending what your lineup looks like, Makwan Amirkhani may not be the worst guy to have in there. Then we got Roman Dolidze taking on Marvin Vettori. This is a very controversial fight. Everybody is split on this fight. I think Marvin Vettori wins. It's because he's got the head of a cement wall. He's got decent takedowns. decent striking, very good cardio, and solid volume. And I think he wins because, yes, he's fighting the very, very dangerous Roman Dolidze. But Roman Dolidze tends to fade as the fight goes on. And yes, he's dangerous. He's got incredible power in his hands. But that power is not going to matter with Marvin Vettori because I mentioned his head is a brick wall. He's got incredible grappling. Incredible grappling. I don't know if that's going to matter because he's got no takedowns. So unless Marvin Vettori takes down Roman Dolidze, Roman's not going to be in a position to create the scramble and do what he did, like what happened with Jack Hermanson. And frankly, Roman did not look good against Jack Hermanson early. He finished looking great, but didn't look good early. I'm not gonna put Marvin Vettori in my lineup at that $9,100 pricing because he's not gonna finish Roman Dolidze, and I don't even think he's gonna grapple. So we're just gonna be looking at some striking points. And Roman is incredibly dangerous. If you are on the Roman Dolidze side, $7,100 is a bargain. Look at what this dude has done. Underdog, 115 points. Underdog, 109 points. Underdog, 84 points. He has been an underdog in his last 3 fights and put up very real numbers. So if you're on that side, I'm not going to argue with you. If you're on that side, $7,100 is incredible pricing. The problem is, if he loses, I don't see him scoring well because he's not going to get the takedowns. He's not going to get a knockdown. It's just going to be him hoping there's a grappling exchange, and there may not be. But the way this guy is streaking, the things he's doing lately, $7,100, if you're on that side, that'll be the best money you have ever spent in DraftKings. Then we got Casey O'Neill taking on Jennifer Maia. Casey O'Neill is a dog, right? She's a Muay Thai striker who has incredible volume, 229 significant strikes in her last fight. Yes, it was a split decision over Roxanne Modafferi. It shouldn't have been a split. It should have been unanimous, and you guys are going to say, well, she should have just blown through Roxanne Modafferi. Yeah, she probably should have. But Roxanne is stupid tough and can grapple. Roxanne got a few takedowns of her own. Casey did go 0 for 2 in takedown attempts, which may be an issue here because she is fighting Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia is very good. She's very well-rounded. She's got solid BJJ, underrated boxing, and decent wrestling. Casey O'Neill should be able to beat Jennifer Maia on the feet, and if she gets takedowns, she should be able to avoid any actual submissions. The problem is Casey O'Neill's been out for more than a year. She did have a couple of injuries in the mix. We don't know exactly what we're going to get, and Jennifer Maia is very good. So Casey O'Neill should win. $8,500 is decent pricing. If you want to throw her in your lineup, go ahead, especially if you think she's going to put up those takedown numbers, because let's go ahead and look at those takedown numbers again real quick. 3, 1, 4. I mean, in her wins, fairness to her, even the one against Roxanne Modafferi, where she couldn't get takedowns and was taken down, she put up 122 points. $8,500, she's probably safe for your lineup, but again, she's coming back after more than a year away, and she's fighting a very tough Jennifer Maia. Then we got Gunnar Nelson taking on Bryan Barberena. Gunnar Nelson, $9,200. Listen, Gunnar is an interesting guy to break down. He's got that long, like, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson karate-style striking. Not nearly as good as Wonderboy, but he's got that karate-style striking, but he's actually a grappler. And he's got some very solid submissions. He'll get takedowns. He'll work from there. He put up 96 points against Tsuki Sato. I forget his first name. Against Sato at UFC London last year. But I just get the impression that Gunnar shows up once a year, every other year for his paycheck. Oh, it's a fight close to home. The fans will love me. Give me what you think is an easy fight, and yeah, I'll do it. I feel like that's his mindset. I don't feel like he's out here, let me work my way up and try to get these wins. With that being said, he's fighting Bryan Barberena. Bryan Barberena was just taken down a handful of times, 4 to be exact, by Rafael dos Anjos, and then submitted. But historically, he's a pretty tough guy that doesn't just get taken down and submitted. And we're not going to find another one because it hasn't happened in the UFC outside of that last fight. So if you think Gunnar Nelson can RDA Bryan Barberena, take him down, bully him, submit him, then Gunnar Nelson's worth the money. But Bryan Barberena is an absolute dog that will come in here and fight for your money. He will swing for the fences. He will come forward, and he will not stop. He's not going to stop. Even in the loss to Rafael dos Anjos, where he was submitted in the second round, he came forward and he fought. And Gunnar Nelson, you guys are going to hate this, is not as good as Rafael dos Anjos. So if you think Gunnar Nelson gets the takedowns and the submissions, well, then Gunnar Nelson should 100% be in your lineup. If you think Bryan Barberena is tough enough to survive or even win, well, then $7,000 is not bad because we know Bryan's got cardio. We know he's not going to break, and we know he's going to keep coming forward. And, look what he did to Robbie Lawler. So I don't think Bryan Barberena wins. I do think Gunnar Nelson wins. I don't know if he's going to get the submission, but I do think he wins. $9,200, a lot of money to spend. But if I've got Yanal in my lineup at $7,200, we'll see what happens there. Then we got Rafael Fiziev taking on Justin Gaethje in the co-main event. This is essentially striker versus striker. Rafael Fiziev, it's actually Rafael, not Rafael, but I'm so used to the Brazilian names, I do the R's to H's. Rafael Fiziev is $8,800. He is the best striker in the lightweight division. He was literally the Tiger Muay Thai striking coach forever. And when he fought the last Tiger Muay Thai striking coach, he finished him. The dude puts up okay numbers. They're not incredible numbers. They're just okay because it's all striking. He's not a high volume guy, but he is very technical, very accurate, and he'll put that stuff out there. He lost the third round against Bobby Green, and then everybody said he's got trash cardio. He's got trash cardio. He lost the third round. Then he beats Brad Riddell. And then when he went to go fight Rafael Dos Anjos, the narrative was Rafael Fiziev is going to slow down. His cardio sucks. And he didn't. He did not slow down. He went into the championship rounds and just kept beating on RDA, defending the takedowns. Rafael Fiziev should win this fight. $8,800 is honestly a discount if you think about it. So Justin Gaethje, $7,400. Yes, he has only lost to upper echelon fighters, actually champs, literally champs, because Dustin Poirier was a champ, Eddie Alvarez was a champ, Nurmagomedov was the champ, and Oliveira was the champ. These two were title losses. He's only lost to champions in the UFC. But what all these people have in common outside of Nurmagomedov is they're technical strikers. And he doesn't do well against technical strikers. He does well if you engage in a firefight. And that's not Fiziev. Fiziev is a technical striker. He will out-technique Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is a college wrestler, but he doesn't use it in the UFC. Literally no takedowns in the UFC. And if he decides to shoot, well, we've seen Fiziev defend takedowns very, very well. So I think Fiziev gets it done, $8,800. Justin Gaethje is a really tough guy that doesn't, he's not the easiest guy to finish. It's been a while, but I do think Fiziev will get it done, could potentially finish Justin Gaethje just with that incredible pinpoint accurate striking and those low kicks. And then we got the main event of the evening. Kamaru Usman, $8,900. Taking on Leon Edwards. There's no image. There it is. Taking on Leon Edwards. This is a rematch. As you know, this is actually their third meeting. The first time he fought Leon Edwards, let's go all the way back. Come on. All the way back to 2015. He put up 114 points in that decision win. 6 takedowns, 5 takedowns, a takedown, 2 takedowns, 8 takedowns, 12 takedowns, 2 takedowns, 5 takedowns, and 2, 1, 5 in the last fight against Leon Edwards. Listen, pick your side. There are a lot of you that love Leon Edwards in this matchup, Jacob included. You're going to get him at 7,000 something pricing. Then go ahead and throw him in your lineup because he won by knockout. And this is a rematch, and champions or former champions are 3-12 in immediate rematches to get their belt back. So history says Kamaru Usman's not going to win this fight. With that being said, this is different. This feels more like when George St. Pierre lost his belt to Matt Serra, right? He was beaten on Matt Serra, got clipped, got put out, came back and beat the piss out of Matt Serra. This feels like that. Right? Kamaru Usman lost the first round, was winning the rest of that fight. The ref stood them up, and then he got caught in the 5th round with 1 minute left. He scored 100 points in a loss. Leon Edwards, in a win, scored 84 points. And that just tells you how little Leon Edwards was able to do after that first round. People are going to talk about elevation. It's because he was tired. Well, they were both fighting at elevation. And if his cardio couldn't hold up there, fine, I get it. And maybe he'll be fresher at sea level. But that just means Usman's cardio and pressure is going to be that much more intense. The takedowns he didn't get, he will get now. I am on the Kamaru Usman side. I think he gets it done. And frankly, even in a loss, he put up some big numbers. I'm going to have Usman in my lineup. I love that he's not 9,000 plus. I think it's going to be wrestle heavy from the jump because he felt the kick. He was knocked out cold. Wrestle heavy from the jump. I'm going to like Kamaru Usman in this spot. Guys, that is the breakdown. Go to WeWantPicks.com. We have a full slate of DraftKings data, DraftKings information, the cheat sheet, the optimizer, ownership projections. We have everything you will ever need to make winning lineups and make money doing this. WeWantPicks.com. It's $10 a month. Just click Become a Member.